Okay, all, this is Todd Barr. This is the March metrics meeting for marketing. And I'm going to just hit the highlights. And then at the meeting, we will just open it up for some questions. So let me share my screen with you here. All right, let's get going. So March metrics, a couple things. There are a few missing metrics pieces that we just didn't get a chance to get updated in time. So mostly qualitative type metrics. And the other big change is that without Looker Access, we have no pipe to spend report this month. So we're going to be looking at how we can pull that manually again using Visible and Salesforce. So we'll have to take a month off of that. We also have no PR metrics updates from the firm this month, but they'll be here shortly. AR, continued great progress on the AR side. The team is really just putting points on the board every single month. 12 inquiries with analysts this month, which an inquiry is where we call them and ask them questions, and they were able to present our strategy, and they're able to give us feedback on that strategy. What you'll see in here is a lot of security information. So security continues to be important, and we're growing that part of our analyst exposure with 451, Gartner, and IDC, and then quite a few mentions in reports as well that came out this month. So good momentum, continuing activities in AR. On the community side, 11 meetups scheduled out of a goal of 10. So that's great. We still are struggling on the contributions from the community. I want to point out that while our number of contributions was down a little bit this month, and we're still working on trying to get those numbers up repeatably, it's still 25% of MRs merged in 11.9 came from the community, and that continues to be a pretty steady number. So still a good accomplishment and something we need to talk about more, but we've got to figure out how to get a little bit of forward momentum in the contributions from the community. Channel response time is doing really well. We are, we have some days that are better than others, clearly, on response time, and so we need to get this reply time more consistent across days. But our median is 7.6, and as we said, I think we said this last month, we added a new channel to Stack Overflow. And we are closing more tickets than are being open, so that's good. So we continue to stay on top of that and then make sure that we are staying on top of those tickets. Top of funnel. So as Sid recommended, we change this to incremental graph, just a growth graph. So we're not a cumulative graph. And as you can see, we have some big bumps when we have some news, and it looks like, from last year, we can see the moving to GitLab, GitHub acquisition timeframe and how much that added from a social perspective for us. But we then continue to add about 2,500 a month, or more. It looks like 3,000-4,000. January was a particularly good month, and February was solid. And we continue. With social, we aren't doing more social right now because we have the same number of resources on it. So, this is good, steady growth. And as we add resource to social, then we can make this number go up. In terms of web traffic, so again, this top graph is just incremental growth of new users. And we can see that in February, we were clicked down a little bit from January. Similar click down in the previous year. That's the small blue chart under, but that's the that's the kind of monthly cumulative, not non-cumulative graph. Sorry, and then I'm still keeping the cumulative graph on here as well, so we can start to see kind of the totals. But we are starting to look into why this is flat and seeing if there's some other things we can do to increment it besides just news. Clearly, news helps, and we gain momentum from that, but we also want to be working on making this number go up a little bit more repeatedly with actions that we're taking. So we started looking into that. This is just early, trying to figure out, where the new user growth is coming from. Continues to be driven by some particular blog posts. So on this one, we looked at new user sessions and trying to figure out where they're coming from, where the highest change is. But nothing to report yet on this as we dig deeper. I'm going to skip through these pretty quickly. Again, I said I was just going to hit the highlights. We've added month over month change on these charts, so that's good. No major changes in non-branded keywords. And these are the priority SEO words. You can start to see month over month change. Kubernetes dropped a little bit, so we need to look into that. DevOps dropped a little bit. Value stream mapping, we sort of came out hot. Most likely there's not much search volume there, so looks like there's a little bit actually, but we've done really well with that page as we've updated that page. CI has gotten a little better over the last month. Not many changes there. And then source code management's incrementally better, and DevSecOps is incrementally better. So some improvement, kind of a mixed bag at this point, to be honest. Not going to hit this one. This is just kind of a rolling chart we show every month about top performing blog posts. This is similar to what I showed last month. We added kind of last month's data on here just for comparative purposes. What you can see is we dramatically increased our cost in Google Ads as we launched Just Commit. So we'll start to see some more results from this coming into March here from our February spend. Our average cost per click was the same, a little bit down, actually, $2.51 versus $2.79. Our cost per converted click was significantly higher, and we need to kind of now look and see why that's the case. Most likely, it's just bidding on better keywords, and then when they convert, because they're more expensive keywords, it's more expensive per conversion. So again, need to dig one click deeper on that, but that's as we see. In fact, tomorrow we're seeing the first results from the Just Commit campaign specifically, and that'll give us some insight into our spend. No real change there. Okay, funnel conversions going down. MQLs, we did go ahead and put March to date on here so we can see how we're trending. It looks like we're going to be probably flattish in March. So we kind of took a bump in January with the website changes, and February was great. Our revenue model goals show a March goal of 7,500 MQLs, and so we should be on track to meet or exceed that. And our February goal is actually a little higher because of just how the revenue model is built. And we hit 9,000 MQLs on a revenue model goal of 9,200. So pretty close to hitting that goal. And I think March will hit the goal as well. And then the goals start to incrementally go up. And so it's going to be difficult, and we got to really figure out how to continue to make these numbers go up. Just to point out, demo continues to be a great addition to our MQL portfolio, as well as the 2 trials. MQL conversions. So this is important because how are those MQLs converting into opportunities? Strong showing in February, but as you can see, it didn't grow as fast as the total number of MQLs grew. We saw some really nice expansion in the demos conversion. That seems to be a high value conversion, but some of the trial ones have gone down a bit. So we continue to monitor this with the BDR team to make sure that we continue to see growth here. And I think some of this is about process and getting better at converting these. And some of them is just about when we get more quantity, the quality may go down a little bit. But that's okay because we're adding those to our database and we can nurture them and build them over time. Speed to lead. So this is a new, couple of new things that we're measuring, and our response time is now under 0.4 days. So, less than half a day of getting back to the MQLs that are inbound. So that's pretty cool. And that's improved pretty dramatically over the last month and a half. And same with our response time to inbound requests. We'll continue to monitor this, and it looks like we're going to be moving this into another platform, this speed to lead, and we got to get a little bit better at this. But this was the first time we had this was last month, and so this is just an update on that. And then this is SDR specifically created SAOs, pretty strong in January and February. I'll show you a attainment here in a minute. And March is growing right now, about halfway through. So hopefully we can get that up there as well. You see the demo in February made a showing on SDR SAOs, which is pretty cool. And GitLab.com also made a showing after being a pretty small part of what we're doing. So some of these new leads are turning into opportunities even through our SDR organization, which is handling the enterprise segment. So that's good. BDRs had a really nice bump, again, due to the kind of the influx of leads. So that's great. Hoping to see some continued improvement in March. A lot of that obviously came from inbound requests, trials, contact us's and those types of things. And you can also see prospecting and demos starting to make a showing here. SDR attainment was steady January to February. We did, one of the changes that we made in, I guess it started in January, maybe beginning of February, was move the federal team out. So you don't see that in these numbers now. And so, we're above, I think we're in the 82% range of attainment now of SDRs hitting their goals of SAOs in the new model of SAOs. So now we got to see how these things convert, but that's good progress, and consistency is good. New business opportunity creation. I showed this last month, but we've added goals in here as well as continue to look at the trend. January, we were 55% year-over-year growth of number of net new opportunities created. February was again 51% year-over-year growth of number of net new opportunities created, which is 87% of the goal, and 200% of the goal of 3.2 million in net new business ICV created based on the revenue model. And that may go up because these bars on the right-hand side fill in as reps start to update these opportunities. Now, while 200% is great in February, the reality is this is lumpy. And so March will probably be quite a bit less than February. Hopefully April will be up again, as you can see from last year, because this is very dependent on when reps are creating these net new business opportunities in their pipeline. And so they may create them, and then they have to work the opportunities for a while. So it's kind of lumpy month over month. So I doubt that we'll be hitting 200% next month. Hopefully we can still hit the goal. Our March goals are 851 ops and 2.7 million in IACV created. So that's what we're shooting for. Again, similar to the MQLs, this went down a little bit this month, but will trickle up. Or the goal went down a little bit this month just based on the revenue model and how it's built. It'll be back up in April and continue to go up from there. Pipe to spend, we don't have this month. And I'm still awaiting a customer case study update, see where we are on that OKR of 2 a month published. So that's it for this month. We'll have the meeting tomorrow and address any questions. So again, some incremental, excuse me, to sum it up, incremental improvement in metrics. Many of them are looking fine. Incremental improvement in this presentation, but also a few steps backward in data that we don't have, or the fact that Looker's down and we can't get to that pipe to spend. And so we need to find another way to do that more repeatedly. Thank you very much. Talk to you tomorrow.